Dr. Ma Vang is an associate professor of critical race and ethnic studies at UC Merced, where she founded the program and served as its inaugural chair. She's a leading scholar and author of several books that explore how secret information affects what is officially known about refugees, and how refugees themselves understand military actions and forced migration. Dr. Vang is a founding member of the Critical Refugee Studies Collective, a group of scholars focused on refugee-centered research, public engagement, and grant giving. She has organized scholar community conferences to help design K-12 curricula that reflect the histories and cultures of various refugee communities. Additionally, she has collaborated with the Orange and Santa Clara County Offices of Education to develop high school ethnic studies curricula. Dr. Vang is also active in the Merced community as an advisor on youth and education projects. Dr. Vang earned her PhD in ethnic studies from UC San Diego. Her research encompasses critical race theory, critical refugee studies, feminist epistemologies, war and U.S. imperialism, and Hmong, Southeast Asian, and Asian American cultures.
I immigrated with my parents to the United States when I was very young. As a refugee, and my parents I was born in a refugee camp in Thailand after they had already escaped from Laos into Thailand from the U.S. covert war in Laos, which was a parallel conflict to the war in Vietnam. So after we moved to the U.S. or resettled to the U.S., they would tell us stories about their youth, right, what it was like growing up, but also stories about just other people, right, other people's life stories and their experiences. And then a lot of times those are connected to stories of their multiple displacements when they were living during the war. In middle school, when we finally learned about the Vietnam War, what was in the textbooks didn't match the stories that I had heard growing up. This left me really confused, and this gap always stayed with me. What it did is that it created almost a kind of a mistrust of my family's stories of, how come what they were telling us was so real for them, and yet it was not captured in the way that it is taught, right, to children in the school system. And so the questions that stayed with me were, how come a historical event that shaped an entire group's experience, right, and changed the course of so many lives not be talked about? I ended up going to grad school in ethnic studies at UC San Diego, and it really shaped my sense of how do I want to pursue injustice. You have the injustice of the war itself and the violence and the displacement, but then you have the injustice of knowledge. Not only the injustice of knowledge that wasn't taught in school or that it wasn't talked about in public, right? But the injustice that it made me question my own family's knowledge and experience. And I think that was something that was so impactful for me. And the tools that I have as a researcher and teacher is to show students and other young people how we can innovate in our ideas and find different ways to pursue justice and equity that is about sort of, standing up and speaking up for yourself, but is also challenging knowledge and how that's created. For me, it is about being a strong mentor. It is about guiding and inspiring others. Creativity and open-mindedness for me are really such important qualities about being a good leader, and how we use the skills that we have. Part of being involved in campus life actually is to be around other leaders, right? Other leaders who are either my peers or other leaders who are faculty or staff. And that has really been inspiring for me, because not only did I witness, but I also built connections, right, with them, and that they continue to mentor me. It's so important to have more women in leadership positions, and especially women of color in leadership positions, because of their experiences in navigating the intersections of multiple identities, right? And these experiences often translate to being inclusive in their leadership. Women in leadership provide feminist mentorship, right? And feminist in mentorship for me is about building up each other, and also building up the pipeline of future leaders. But we're there to also be part of the conversation, to be part of the story, to shape, whatever that space might look like.